What's up guys, welcome back to another video. If you've seen my previous video, you've seen the sneak peek of the Ultimate Steam Deck. This is version 3.0, pretty much the same as before, except our fan is tilted now. We have a dongle attached to it, and we also have a fan controller that actually works. So when you power this thing on, everything turns on. You can control the fan speed and everything. Now you can control the fan speed, all these things. You can still access the M.2 port. You can go ahead and open this port up, take this stuff out. Unfortunately, our dongle is slightly in the way now of this port, but it's still accessible easily. So one of the big issues for me is the fact that it kind of just sits upright now on its own, and that's mainly because the dongle dock is sitting there. So we made changes. We were supposed to do a full video on this. I didn't think it was worth a full video, so we did a sneak peek. That's because I went ahead and designed this. So this is pretty much the exact same thing as the last one, but we made some key changes. So for the most part, it is pretty much the same, but we did change a couple of things. This thing is stuck. That was actually easier than I thought it would be. So here it is. This is the new back plate. You notice that it is kicked down now. It has a built-in kickstand now. Key difference between this one, technically the 4.0, and the 2.0 is this fan is now bumped up, and we did that so we could hold our dongle in a nice position, and also we kicked it up facing downward so it cooled down the lower part of the SoC. Also, we have the kickstand that kicks down right here, allows the dock to hold itself upright. Haven't tested it yet, but it should help hold the Steam Deck upright for the most part. So this stays the same, this is the same, but you'll notice that we have this surface right here, and that's here because it's supposed to hold what's going to hold our M.2 port. So this is a clip, and this clip's job is to do one thing and one thing only. It is to hold our M.2 port down while we are on dock mode. And the way this works is it's going to sit in here. We're going to have to glue it in place. And what happens is when we're ready to use this M.2 port, we're going to pry it open. It's supposed to hold it like that. It's going to hold it in place. So we just got to figure out a good placement for this. That's why it's loose, because I didn't know a good placement for this, and we'll figure it out once we get this onto our Steam Deck. But yeah, that's what this thing is for. It's to hold our M.2 port, and that's why we built this little bay here. And we gave it room so we could adjust it accordingly. So unfortunately, we always end up destroying this thing when we take it apart. And we're probably... Sweet. Okay, that came off pretty clean. So one thing I learned in this version is that I do not need to put these screws in. This one here, this one here, this one here. It didn't seem very necessary because we are not using our aluminum heat shield anymore, so we don't really need to mount them. Alright, we took a little bit more than I wanted to, but it looks great. Wow, that looks way cleaner. And then, of course, perfect fit, stock fit. Let's do our, it's too top heavy. Yeah. Let's do front heavy. We can, what I'm gonna do is 3D mold a step to this right here so that it'll sit upright, but currently in its current state it will not do that. I don't know why I didn't think about that, but I couldn't because it would have blocked this. I don't want to block that. I just want it to sit on its own. So it's easy. We'll 3D model something that fits here. Flat should open, pretty chill. Throw this bad boy in here, close the latch, but right now there's nothing holding it. So that's when this thing comes in play. I like it. I think we're gonna have to rock it like where I said to rock it. Actually, we'll go right to the edge. Works. There you go. That holds the M.2 in place. And if we want to take it out, hopefully, this is what I imagine, we'll pull it out this way. We'll unfortunately have to grab this thing. We'll slide it out. And if we want to put it back in, come through here, pull slack, put that thing in there, just like so. Pull slack out, close the latch, boom. So there isn't really too much to this dongle. It literally just sits here and we glue it in place. Pretty much a complete unit. We're gonna add a couple things to this right now. Mainly we're gonna go ahead and 3D model us a kickstand here.
Much later.
And this is our new stand for our Steam Deck. Hopefully it fits. It should just slot right in to the side port right here. Oh my god, it's perfect. There you go. Now you can dock it. A little bit of wiggle room, but it comes off really easily. Very happy with that. Now with that docking thing situated, we need to address cable management before we move forward. And then we're gonna just glue the shit out of this thing. Alright, so we're pretty good here. Do one thing real quick. Take out some black paint. Cover up some of this glue. I'm using a matte black acrylic paint. And we're just doing it over the hot glue areas. Alright, so when we're talking about the SoC, what we're talking about is basically all of these chips. So when we are in dock mode, essentially the IC controller is covered by this port right here. And you just can't get any pads on there, you can't get a heatsink on there, you can't get anything. That's the reason why this fan is tilted downward, is to provide air to the IC chip and this VRM right here. I think that's a VRM. These things are normally cooled with thermal pads onto the heat shield, but because of our M.2 extension, it's completely blocked. I need to check for clearance for is to throw some thermal pads on our APU, and maybe if we can fit maybe one on our heat pipe, that would be pretty cool. These are just aluminum heat sinks I bought on Amazon, super duper cheap. Easily pick them up. Big boy one there. And what these aluminum heat sinks are going to do are basically going to do what this fin stack does up here. It basically does that, except it's pulling heat from the APU to the top right here, and then this fan right here is going to be the one cooling it down versus this fan. And basically that's going to allow us lower fan speeds because this heat pipe won't have to work as hard. Because think about it this way, heat transfers from this APU to these heat sinks a lot faster than it goes up and through this pipe and get dissipated. So this is essentially quicker. I don't know how much quicker, but it is quicker at dissipating heat. So if you had a bigger surface here, it would get cooler faster. We could really just put these on all our other ones as well, but then we get into the issue of clearance of this door, and like I said, I don't think it's going to be an issue with the fan blowing down on it. I think that's going to be more than adequate cooling for the rest of the SoC, having this fan pointed down towards them. Cool. All right. One thing I do want to do is where's our grill? I might take a break and print out a grill for this thing real quick. All right, 30 minutes later, here we go. Looks pretty cool. That looks pretty good. It looks a little bit better. I kind of like the no shroud look, to be honest, but it kind of goes with the motif. Putting a heatsink directly onto this APU cooler, it really cools things down really quickly. And we're probably going to be able to keep this thing pretty dang quiet now. Alright, so in handheld mode, this is how it's going to run. And I keep losing that dang screw. I lost it again. I know it's here somewhere. Got a nice magnetic tray and I don't put the things that I need in there. Might have scooped it into the freaking garbage bin. I didn't think about it. Guys, you won't believe this. I actually found it. It was in the garbage bin. Oh my god. So the cool thing about this fan, you can go to the slow settings 400 RPM, but then you can crank it to its max, which I think is 4500 RPM. For our purposes, we don't need 4500 RPM. We probably don't even need 2000 RPM. We probably just need maybe 1000 RPM. All right, well this boots, look at this thing. This is so cool. Look at that. That's all it is. We are in our dock configuration. It is actually not too much in the way like that. Look at this. It's a little heavy on one side, but it's pretty stable. Look at that. And if you don't need it, boom. Weight-wise, we didn't add that much weight to this thing whatsoever. We can actually weigh how much we added on there. We probably added maybe another 50 grams at most, or maybe. Let's get a room temp. All right, the room is pretty cold still. We're at 16.5, very cold this morning. Our Steam Deck is clogged up. We're in handheld mode. Fan is off. And we're just gonna let this thing cool down. I mean, heat up. We're gonna take it all the way as high as we can get it, which I don't even know how high it will be because we have a lot better ventilation now. We have that slot open. There's a lot less air resistance in the system now. It's going to cool a lot better than a stock Steam Deck. What's up, guys? Editing Nas here, and I just want to do a quick service announcement. If you like this video, you like this content, hit that subscribe. Secondly, we're cutting out all this fat. We're not going to do any of the thermal testing, but if you do like it, let me know in the comments below. Maybe we do a separate episode or keep them in the future episodes, but this one's running very long and we need to cut some fat, so I'm cutting it all out. Secondly, if you really want to help out the channel, visit us at DIYpoppy.net. Pick up a t-shirt, really helps the channel out a lot. We're also releasing STL files for all our 3D prints on that website. If you have a 3D printer, you can go ahead and print everything I've created on your own if you do so inclined. So it's going to be available to you at DIYpoppy.net. Let's get back to the video. This thing is 67 dB by itself. This thing is super duper loud. $59.60 dB. Yeah, and this one is just so much quieter at 59 to 60 dB. It's amazing. This thing is so much quieter. Clearly, this is one of the coolest running Steam Decks on the market. We just saw it. This is the best temps we've ever gotten. It is now a sub 60 Steam Deck in these room conditions. I'm sure it's obviously going to be a lot warmer when we're in a warmer climate, but dude, this is working great. This is working amazingly. That's it in handheld mode. Let's go ahead and we're going to talk about dock mode and getting it docked. And guys, this looks freaking amazing. It is on 2K ultra settings. We're getting nearly 60 frames. Who would have thought that strapping a 6700 XT to your Steam Deck would give such great benefits? It looks great and it's running pretty damn well. We are seeing a little bit of a bottleneck on the CPU where we shouldn't. That might be a RAM configuration or possibly an issue with the fact that we are running our ISO off a USB port, which is not the best. But obviously, we're going to have to do trade-offs here with a Steam Deck. But this was not the point of the whole video. We knew strapping a GPU to your Steam Deck would make it run better. There's been countless videos on that. The point of this video, the reason why we spent so much time doing all of this was to do it all in a manner that was essentially streamless, meaning we could tie a GPU to a Steam Deck without losing the portability effect of our Steam Deck. And we accomplished that, and we accomplished that extremely well. Everything else here, the tuning of the CPU with the GPU, the memory stuff, that's all for the next video. We're gonna have a lot of fun doing all that stuff, getting everything to work just perfectly. But our main goal in this video and this last 3 episodes in this series, get this backplate to a point where we can configure it at any time at will. A USB-C dongle that gives us 100-watt PD. We have two USB 3 ports and an HDMI in the bottom if we need it for whatever reason. We also have an intake fan on the back of the Steam Deck pointed downwards towards our SoC with heat sinks underneath the APU to help keep the Steam Deck nice and cool, and we can control that fan with our Noctua fan speed controller that is directly tied to the power source of the Steam Deck, so we don't need to worry about any external power source, and it all can be all charged with one cable, the stock Steam Deck cable. And if we're done in dock mode and we want to take out our M.2 to PCI 16 slot, we can pull it out, pull this back tray out, grab our M.2, plug that thing back in relatively easy, and boom, we're back in handheld mode. That was the whole point behind this thing, and it's working super well. In dock mode, it is beautiful and gorgeous. We even got a detachable kickstand going on here. This thing is the bee's knees, so to speak. This thing is working great. It's working immaculate. I freaking love it. And the next thing we're going to do is obviously get this whole rigmarole situation fixed with this whole docking capability, which is immaculate. And I love it. The coolest thing about it is the fact that it cools your Steam Deck so well. So let's get into the numbers real quick. With our ultimate Steam Deck, with our external fan turned off, in a room temp of 16.4, we had a GPU temp of 66, 67 on the CPU, fan speed 4700 with a dB of 48. Very cool running system, especially when you take in account of the stock configuration, meaning without this backplate, Steam Deck in stock, same game, Witcher 3, same settings, we were getting a temperature of 74 on the GPU and 75 on the CPU with a fan speed of 4800 RPM. So it's a delta of 8 with our ultimate Steam Deck backplate. And things get better the further we move down. With our fan speed at 50% and the same room temperature of 16.4, we got 64 on the GPU, 65 on the CPU, fan speed 4500 RPM with the same dB of 48. So an increased delta. Now, we are 10 degrees cooler from a stock configured Steam Deck. After that, we turn our external fan to 100%. We even get a better cooling temperature. Now, same room temp, 16.4. We get a delta of 15 across the board, meaning 60 on the GPU, 60 on the CPU, fan speed 4200 RPMs, but our dB does go up to 53, which is pretty loud, but it's basically as loud as the JSOX cooler on low. That's the loudest this fan will get is the JSOX cooler on low. So it's, when you compare the two, it's extremely quiet, and we're getting a better delta, a delta of 15. And let me just say this real quick. This fan's 15, this controller's 20, this dongle is 15. Okay, so it's $50 altogether for everything here, which is MSRP price of the JSOX mod case with the cooler. Guys, like, put a little effort, you can get a lot more out of it. Plus, that doesn't have external dongles and things like that, and PD charging. I mean, guys, this thing's awesome. But if we want to turn this thing up a notch, meaning with the Decky loader and the fantastic plugin, using that to crank the internal fan to 7,000 RPMs, with our external fan still cranked to the max at 4,500 RPMs, we get the craziest temperatures we've gotten so far. This is literally territory of vacuum cleaner. If you haven't seen that video, check out that mod. And the Peltier. This is that territory. It's better than the Peltier. It's not as good as the vacuum cleaner, but it's definitely not as loud as the vacuum cleaner, and it's portable with those temperatures. We are getting a 57 on the GPU, 57 on the CPU, dB of 59. This is pretty freaking crazy. These temps are pretty freaking crazy. Nearly 20-degree delta from stock. Nearly 20-degree delta from stock. So stock on this Steam Deck, for less than $60, we're able to get nearly a 20-degree delta, which is, that's crazy. This is crazy, guys. This is absolutely crazy. This thing is the beast. This thing is the monster. It's the bee's knees. This is by far the greatest mod I ever created, and we're not even done yet. Obviously, everything, the main guts is all set, all done. We should be good to go on all of everything going on in here. We're just gonna make it better. We're just gonna make kind of small tweaks here and there, and just make it overall better. And mainly, what we need to do is this situation back here with our GPU. We need to figure out that situation so that it looks a little nicer. Power supply thing is just gets in the way, but if we can somehow configure it where they kind of stack on each other or are in one case, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out the enclosure for that. Maybe we'll get an enclosure. I don't know. Maybe we'll make one. I don't know. I haven't decided that. All I know is this right here. This thing looks like a crazy monster, but this thing is fucking amazing. Nearly a minus 20-degree delta. This thing is insane. Oh yeah, I gotta tell you this real quick. Ultimate power mode, meaning everything cracked to the max, is 59 dB. It is still 7 dB quieter than the JSOX. The JSOX has a whopping 66 dB on high settings. 66 dB. It is so loud. This one is 59. Still loud for my taste. Still very loud. But it's so much better. It is so much better. It is crazy. Guys, I love this thing. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, hit that like. If you loved it, hit that subscribe. This thing is a masterpiece. I freaking love it. I'll catch you guys on the next one.